Summer is supposed to be an opportunity to slow down, but when you look at your kids, you can't help but notice that your kids are growing up fast. Help them build independence as they grow with Greenlight. Greenlight is a debit card and money app for families, where parents can keep an eye on kids' money habits while kids learn how to save, invest, and spend wisely. It's the easy, convenient way to raise financially smart kids. Get your first month free when you sign up at greenlight.com/Spotify.
Hello, fellow gamers! Welcome to the Video Gamers Podcast, hosted by three gamer dads. We release episodes on Mondays and Thursdays, and if you sign up to help support the show on Patreon, you even get bonus episodes twice a month, along with a shout out on the show and other perks. You can take a look at multiplayersquad.com. All right, guys, I think we're going to have a lot of fun in this episode. Let's get straight to introductions to get started. I am your host, Paul. Joining me, it's been a long while since he's been forced to play a game. I was starting to wonder if he is starting to feel like the redheaded stepchild. It's Josh.
I always feel like the redheaded stepchild, you guys, especially around you two clowns.
Oh, and you are a middle child.
I am.
That kind of checks.
That's true.
Yeah. Okay.
Wait, don't you
I'm
have
sorry,
to?
Josh.
Don't you have to have hair to be redheaded stepchild?
No.
It's a state of being.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
All right. Yeah, Josh, you were last hijacked by legendary supporter Phelps to play Deep Rock Galactic Survivor, and that was in March.
That seems like a long time ago.
You have not been forced in quite a while.
I mean, I'm okay if people want to just keep picking Ryan, man. I mean, let's be honest. He does have some catching up to do. You know,
Well, that's exactly what I was going to say. I mean, joining Josh and me, he's got a 2-game streak going. Is it going to continue? Is the streak about to be over? I guess we'll find out in a little bit. It's Ryan.
He's heating up. We'll see. It's all up to Paul, which I know he's very, very excited about. He keeps letting us know.
It is all up to me. I can't wait to talk about it. So before we jump into our official pre-dive here, Josh, I think you're going to read a review someone left the show.
I do have a new review. Listen, if you've been listening to this podcast for a little while, if this is your first episode and you get to the end and you went, you know what, man, those guys are all right. Think about leaving us a review. It is honestly one of the best ways that you can help other people find this podcast. Everybody checks out reviews, and they really, really do help. Plus, honestly, we read every single one, and we like the feedback. We love the stories of how people are listening to us on their commutes and just enjoying what we are putting out there. So it really does mean a lot to us. And if you leave a review on Apple, there's a good chance we'll read it on the show. Like this review that comes in from Amory Exists, and it's titled, I Love the Community. And it says, this is not just an amazing podcast, but it has amazing people behind it too. Paul, Josh, and Ryan all bring a sense of welcome to their Discord and new listeners to the podcast. The way they always explain how they do the things they do each episode is very noob friendly, yet doesn't annoy veteran listeners. And also, I'd love to know your guys' favorite card game. Keep up the good work.
Oh, thank you, Anne-Marie. So nice. By the way, favorite card game, can I say Texas Hold'em Poker?
I was going to say,
does that count?
I don't know if they're talking like, if you're talking real life card game, then poker for me for sure. If you're talking like digital card game,
ooh, you would say Slay the Spire, I'm guessing.
I mean, it's probably, well, it was Gwent. Honestly, Gwent is the best card game. Yeah. I don't mean the one that's built into The Witcher. The actual standalone game that they made after the fact was the best like strategic card game that I think I've played. So I'll say that's my favorite, even though they're not adding new content for it. It does still exist out there.
Nice.
What about you, Ryan? Is it Gwent or something else?
Yeah, I'd probably say Gwent. I don't really play any like kind of just standalone card games, but that. And then if they are talking real life, then yeah, probably poker.
Yeah, if I had to pick something other than poker, I would say Dominion. That's a game I played a lot with the physical box with the cards, but they also have an electronic version. I always preferred that to stuff like Magic the Gathering, because that's where you just spend more money and you have a better deck. I love games when you build decks as you play, and Dominion does that, and I think it does it really well. All right. And we also owe a shout out to a new Patreon supporter. This one's coming in a little bit late. I was out of town, so we do want to apologize. But David Wallace himself, CEO of Dunder Mifflin, coming in, supporting us on Patreon. Thank you, David. Thank you for your patience waiting for your shout out. We really do appreciate it. All right. So, Ryan, I'm going to throw this to you for a minute. For our listeners who maybe have not been listening to us very long, why don't you tell them a little bit about our Force a Friend format, which we actually first announced in July 2023, but it's been a while since we've done one of these.
It has been a while, and it's been a very long while since you've done one.
Yes.
But basically, we were thinking of what'd be a cool way for us to get, you want someone to play a game. You got a buddy or a friend that, man, you guys should really check out this game, or man, they hate this type of game. I want to make them play it. We came up with Force a Friend. So what we do is we go through and we take turns and we pick a game for one of us to play. We take 2 weeks, we play it, come back with our thoughts on the game, review it, and let everybody know how we feel. And then the next person will pick, therefore, unfortunately for Paul, it'd been quite some time, and I'm sure he has the dates for that.
Yeah.
but yeah, that's kind of the bottom line of it. Really cool. It's been awesome. We each got to, pick some and check out great games that you might not otherwise have played. So I'm really excited to see where this one goes today.
Yeah. So we still have some deep dives where all three of us play the game, but one of the reasons that we did this was twofold. One, it gives us a little bit of a break between games, because if all of us play all the games, that gets pretty overwhelming.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we all have day jobs, we have families, we're all very busy as it is, even before, factoring in the pod. And then also it allows us to keep at least one of us in the dark. So when we record, they kind of are in the headspace of someone who's never played it, and they can ask questions, things like that. All right. So we started this format a little over a year ago, and the history of Force a Friend is very short. So Josh, you got to select first. You made Ryan play Subnautica. Then Ryan.
You're welcome, Ryan.
Thank you very much. It was good.
And if you get selected to be forced, now you get to make the next selection. So then Ryan made Josh play Metal Gear Solid 5.
You're welcome.
Josh.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you.
There it is. Yes. These have worked out pretty well, honestly. And then Josh made me play The Witness. And
You're welcome,
that was
Paul.
back. Yeah, it's good. I liked it. That was in October, guys. It was 10 months ago. We have just had so many games released, and we've had a lot of legendary Hijack a Host episodes. So it is finally my turn, and I get to force one of you guys to play a game.
This is Paul's first time.
First one.
First
Almost a
time
year.
in a year to be able to pick either myself or Ryan to force us to play a game.
It's been a long time.
Man.
It better be good.
I was going to say, no pressure, Paul, but this has been building up for 10 months now.
You know how much time I've had to think about this? I have had a file called games.doc on my desktop for a full year that has just sat there, and I'll toss stuff in it on occasion. I'm like, oh yeah, I'll put that game in there. And then, at that one point, Josh, you decided to play Celeste, deleted it off of my games doc. I've had it running for ages. Now, I did want to ask you guys, and I know that we've only selected 3 games so far, but what goes into your thought process behind what you're going to pick? Are you thinking well, so-and-so has played a lot lately, so maybe I'll go with the other person? Are you picking your all-time favorite games that the others haven't touched? Or are you just thinking through what's going to make for the best episode? What's your strategy in this?
I think for me, it's who was mean to me most recently. So
Yeah, a little bit of revenge.
Oh, so that's why you made me play Subnautica.
Yeah. No, I mean, legitimately, we've always joked around about making somebody play a terrible game and how that would be funny. And I'm sure at some point that's going to happen just, for the laughs for it. But legitimately, you want to pick a game that you think somebody is going to like, or at least that's how I approach it. Ryan doesn't, prior to this podcast, at least, didn't branch out quite as much in his gaming habits as you and I did, Paul. So trying to introduce Ryan to something new like Subnautica, which is the game that launched my love of survival crafting games, like you kind of want to go like, dude, if you just play this, maybe you'll like it. And then maybe you'll discover that you like a whole new genre, right? Or something like that. Paul, you are the smart one of the bunch. And so making you play The Witness was like, let's kind of put that to the test a little bit. Like, how do you like puzzles that can get progressively harder? And things like that as well. So I know I approach it in a way that it's like, I want to see if you guys, like if a game that I love resonates with you guys, because if it does, it gets you excited. Like you want people to like the things that you like, And so I think that's how I approach it as far as like, what can I pick that I think might surprise you with how much you enjoy this game?
Nice. Yeah, it definitely, like you said, I definitely stuck to a certain like type of game for a while, and I would just kind of get hooked on it and play. So having that opportunity to check new styles of games and new types of games. Now even when we played like Ark and then we went and played Once Human, I'm like, I need to craft, I need to survive. I love it now. So it's really neat to branch out where you otherwise would not have. For me, I do develop a fondness and a love for certain types or certain genres. So to be able to try to share that with people, like I love, I know Paul does too. We love to cook. We love to smoke meats. I make brisket and other stuff all the time. Most of the time I eat maybe 5 or 10% of it. And I like to just share the wealth to everybody. So kind of that's how I look at it with the games is, this is awesome. It means a lot to me. I really think you'll enjoy it, and I want you to have the same enjoyment that I had. So that's kind of the way I like to look at it.
That's a very generous way of looking at it. Unfortunately for you guys today, let me just say, I am not.
Paul's coming with the rage, the 10-month rage.
He's had so much time.
Oh no,
I've had a lot of time. My thought process behind today's selection is not thinking what's the best game that we haven't done a deep dive. I kind of feel like that's a little bit more what you guys do. For you listeners out there, this one is 100% for you. I literally just thought, what would be the funniest game to talk about?
No.
And I'm just thinking, what's best for the show? Does that mean it's a great game or is it a terrible game? How many times have we said, in our opinion, the worst episodes are when we're like, dude, it's like a 6 out of 10. Like, how am I supposed to make that entertaining to talk about?
It's true.
So I am picking something that I think will make for the most fun to discuss on the show. I think it'll have the highest entertainment. It may or may not be the most entertaining to play. And we'll see how it goes. Josh is got a little nervous.
Ryan, nose goes.
I'm kind of antsy and anxious right now.
I got real nervous when like Evil Paul popped up there.
Yeah, he definitely popped up.
You guys know I can be a little bit of a wild card with some of this stuff.
Paul
like
is the prankster.
RimWorld.
Yes.
Yeah, like early on, RimWorld is the one that I kind of strong-armed you and Josh and original host Todd into playing. So, all right, let's talk a little bit. You guys know I love giving timestamps, right, of like when these games released.
Oh, yeah.
I have picked a game that first released on the PS3. All right, it is a little bit older. We've had this trend going for a little while now. This game, the week that it came out, the number one song according to Billboard was TikTok by Kesha. Great song, by the way. And the number one movie at the box office was Shutter Island. So we are talking the year 2010 is when this came out.
What?
A little older.
What?
It is a year that gave us a lot of classics. Now, don't Google any of this. All right, I want you guys, don't look up anything. I don't want any guesses. I will be strategic in what I list here. I'm not going to list all the games from 2010 that were big, but we are talking about the year that brought us Red Dead 1, God of War 3, Super Mario Galaxy 2, BioShock 2, StarCraft 2. I mean, these are some huge classics
that's a good time in gaming.
Yeah.
And they're still playable, right?
Yeah.
I would say all those games are highly playable. Josh, you're famously a huge football fan. This is the year that your Saints won the Super Bowl.
It is. I know. That was a great time, man.
Great year for Josh. Ryan, in case I end up selecting you, you just got done playing the last Hijack a Host, which was Red Faction Guerrilla. That game was from 2009. I'm picking a game that only came out a year later. Does that make you a little bit more nervous, or do you feel like that's not necessarily a problem being that old?
This is where I live now. I mean, Toontown was like in 03, then Red Faction was 09. I mean, why not? Let's just stay in the zone.
Ryan's
where I
our
live
retro
now.
host now. He's he's like our retro expert.
He's our 2000s
Yeah.
gamer. Oh, man. All right. Well, let me share a little bit about the game's reception. All right. On Metacritic, it is an 87 from critics.
okay.
Ooh, okay. All right.
And it is an 8.5 from users. So I was slightly trolling you just a little. This is a very well-received game. All right. It sold more than 5 million copies. And the Wikipedia page twice says that it is considered one of the best video games of all time. So that should set you a little bit more at peace.
All right. No problem.
All
We
right.
got this, Ryan.
All right. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to be revealing the host before the game, and I'll
Ooh.
tell you why. But before I do that, I do want to share a couple last things. I would say that the thing I enjoy most in games is when choices matter, right? Like, not just being able to decide how a quest ends, but I love when games have these vastly branching storylines where if I choose this, maybe that character dies, or maybe this town completely changes. And I feel like going into the late 2000s, going into 2010, this for me is like the start of that golden age when choices matter. I think that when we entered 3D gaming, the graphics took up so much space on cartridges and discs that they couldn't do that a whole lot. And then as like games got better and media got larger and we had like, you know, Blu-ray discs on the PS3, I feel like that's when we got choices mattering like much more blown out. So, you know, we're talking, this is around the time of like Mass Effect 2, Dragon Age Origins, you know, choices definitely matter in
Good
those
time
games.
for games, man.
Yeah.
Totally agree. This is a game where choices absolutely matter. This game has 18 different endings. All right. Depending
wow.
on choices you make and how you perform. If you do really well, maybe certain characters live. If you do poorly, maybe certain characters die. It kind of depends on how you play it. All right. So before we hit our first break, I will share who the host is first. And spoiler alert, it's because one of you has already played this game. And not only that, I played it with you. So I can't choose that person, but I think that me and that host have some very fond memories of this. And I want to be able to share that with the other. All right. And I don't think this is going to give anything away because let's just say that my wife, Nikki, was a little bit involved in this as well. And how about I just go ahead and share who the host is? I think this is going to be really fun because as I start giving hints, the person who's already played it is going to figure out what it is. And I think it'll be more fun if we play it out that way. So without any further ado, for this deep dive, the person who has to play is... Let's make it 3 in a row, baby. It's Ryan.
Yeah! No, wait a minute. Now my brain is
I knew it.
scrambling, going like, wait, look. I mean, I'm going to remember the game we played, Paul.
Oh,
You know,
you'll remember.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I will say this. Ryan's like, I can't believe I got picked again. Right?
Yeah.
But
He is.
there
Don't
are
worry.
not many games that Paul and I have played together that I have not had an absolute blast playing either. So honestly, I don't know that I can think of one where I was like, ooh, that game is bad. You know, so I don't know what the game is yet, but my memories of playing games with Paul together, none of them are bad. So it's like, I feel like you're in for a good time, Ryan.
Other
I'm
than
sure.
maybe Battlefield 2042 and maybe Hood Outlaws and Legends.
But
Those
even
were
then,
pretty
I
bad.
liked like the, you know, I mean, for a little bit they were fun until their flaws started showing up. But we had good times in both of those.
Or at least you shared
We
the
did.
misery.
Yeah.
Yeah. We might have screamed a lot about the ridiculous
Yeah,
assassinations
okay, that's
in
true.
Hood.
That's true.
All right. So yes, Ryan, you are selected for this. Does it make you feel better that this is a game that I want to play with you? And I think we'll be able to play all of it together. Does that help?
Yes. No, of course. You know me. I'm
Okay.
I'm a people person. So yeah, if we can play together, that's no matter what it is, more than likely I enjoy it. So
So wait, Paul,
All right.
so just to clarify before we go to break, we didn't deep dive this game?
We did not deep dive this. No.
So this is a game
But-
that you and I played just for the heck of playing together, but we never did a deep dive on.
We played it before the podcast even started. This goes back a ways.
Oh, wow.
All right.
Now I'm curious.
So
I'm like racking my brain trying to think too.
what I want you to do, Josh, this is what I thought would be fun. As I'm giving hints or clues, or even now, if you have any guesses, just DM them to me in Discord, and then I'll just say yes or no. And if it's wrong, I'll say what your guess was. But then once you figure it out, I think you're going to find the rest of the episode pretty funny to talk about.
I am bewildered right now, Paul.
No guesses yet,
No
huh?
guesses
All right.
yet. No, I'm going to need a clue or two.
All right, this will be fun. Let's go ahead and take our short break, and then we'll come back and I'll start giving some clues.
Hey, it's Kaylee Cuoco for Priceline. Ready to go to your happy place for a happy price? Well, why didn't you say so? Just download the Priceline app right now and save up to 60% on hotels. So whether it's Cousin Kevin's Kazoo Concert in Kansas City, go Kevin, or Becky's Bachelorette Bash in Bermuda, you never have to miss a trip ever again. So download the Priceline app today. Your savings are waiting.
Go to your happy place for a happy price. Go to your happy price, Priceline.
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be.
All right. Josh, I mentioned that you and I played this game before we started the podcast. Now, back in the day, we used to be under a different name, right? We were the Multiplayer Gaming Podcast. Yep. We had a different head host, Todd. And let's just say that back then we only covered multiplayer games.
Yep.
I floated the idea of us covering this 2 months before the podcast started. I said, I'm just telling you now, I think we need to deep dive this game because it would be fun to talk about, even though it's not actually a multiplayer game. So I floated the idea out there, and I have a little bit of some sad news that Todd replied back and said, I tried playing that with my wife, Bonnie. She fell asleep immediately, and I got bored after 30 minutes and quit. So this game, I will tell you now, is not for everyone. All right. Previous host Todd did not want to cover this. For those who don't know, Todd's wife is both my sister-in-law and Ryan's cousin. So, we have some family relationships here. But this game was not for previous host Todd, but it is definitely up there for me. I absolutely love this game. All right. Let me give you a couple of clues as far as development of the game. So initially, this game was pitched to Microsoft, and they rejected it because they said the subject matter was too dark. They said, we don't really want our brand associated with that kind of like storyline and atmosphere. This is not a feel-good game like Animal Crossing. All right. The game took 4 years to make. It has a 2,000-page long script. Whoa. All right. So there is some heavy story in this game. They used more than 70 actors and stuntmen on 60 sets that they built, and they shot for 170 days in order to do like motion capture. Now, keep in mind your average movie, like with a relatively like medium-sized budget, normally only takes about 100 days. So when this game came out, it was considered the most ambitious motion capture ever for a video game. Any thoughts or any guesses yet, Josh?
I'm trying to think, like,
still racking your
a game
brain
that has motion capture in it. I feel like this would be
back in 2010.
But don't forget to DM.
Yeah,
DM
I don't want to say anything yet,
it.
but I think I have an idea of at least the genre.
maybe.
Oh man.
So the whole idea of this game was because the guy who ended up directing it, and he is also the head writer of it, he hated game over messages in games. And so he said, I want to make a game that no matter what you do, it's going to keep continuing. You can have main characters die, you can have side characters die, you can fail certain objectives, and no matter what, the game is built in so that it can just keep continuing. That was the whole thought process. So this is like one of those games where depending on choices you make, you might only see like 8% of what they actually made for this game. You got to like replay it several times and then you'll see stuff you never saw before. So yeah, This has 4 main characters that you can play as, and spoiler alert, all 4 can die, and the game will continue.
Oh, I'm so bad at these because I get so like analysis paralysis, and I'm just like, I don't want to make the wrong decision.
But that's the beauty. There's 18 different changes. Josh has guessed, is it The Wolf Among Us? It is not, but that is
even
a very
a close
good guess.
time frame? I don't remember when that game came, but I'm feeling like it's that style of game.
You're
Like-
not terribly off.
Okay.
I will say that.
Okay, but
Yes.
now I don't know.
You're along the right lines.
Okay.
I'll
I
give
said
you
I
that.
narrowed down the genre. I was right in that regard, at least.
Yeah.
Okay.
The game is also intentionally built with very short missions. So it's like small chunks at a time. So when you're swapping between 4 playable characters, you generally only play as one for about 15 minutes, and then it'll switch to another character. And it was intentionally designed to be that way to keep your attention. So it's like quickly moving. If there's something you don't like or a character you don't like, you're not staying as them very long. It's going to jump into something else. All right. Let me read you a couple of snippets from reviews. All right. We did this with Red Faction. You know, they were a little maybe overstated things. Here's what a couple of reviews read here. OneUp.com said that the game has an emotional subtlety that very few games have succeeded at. Eurogamer said the writing was full of compassion and bravery, and when you pull the trigger, it really makes you feel something.
Oh no.
Game Informer called it a masterpiece, which I loved reading. And GameSpy said it was the most intense emotional experience they have ever had with gaming. Now, here's the one quote that might throw you off a little bit. Edge said that the game has a gruesome curiosity like that of the Saw franchise. All right, Josh, you have it. Josh has guessed. Josh knows the game. All right.
Oh.
Now, those quotes probably make more sense now, right, Josh?
I am so excited for Ryan to find out.
I don't
about
like
this.
I don't not like the smile on his face
oh my
right now.
goodness, Ryan, you are in for a ride, baby.
Do you see why this is the very first thing I thought with Force a
my
Friend? I said
goodness.
we gotta talk about this game.
I can't.
It's so
this
fun.
This is amazing. This is Ryan. I'm
All
so
right.
happy for you right now.
Me too. I'm excited, and I'm
And honestly, I'm happy
99%
for
sure
our
he hasn't played.
listeners. This is a. I don't want to spoil anything, but this is a game that we have definitely mentioned
ahead.
on this podcast many times.
Yes,
Many
we have.
times.
What?
And
Now-
the bell is going to go off, and our listeners
like
are going to
this.
freak out, and then Ryan is going to be like, "What?" Okay,
have
that's
no
all I'm saying.
idea.
I don't want to spoil nothing, but I'm excited now, dude. Oh man,
How do you feel about the fact that this game is being compared to Saw? And does that surprise you that I would pick a game compared to Saw?
Well, with what you said already about it, with the choices and the compelling story and stuff like that, you know, that makes sense. But with Saw, I'm trying to put that together. You know, it doesn't. Those don't usually mesh too well. So I've never been a big Saw fan. But I'm sure it's a great game. But I just want to know. And I'm very disappointed that you didn't pick Josh and pick Forspoken. I just want to say that now.
I might have floated that as like I was gonna troll and say I'm making
You
Josh
built
play
my hopes up
Forspoken again.
in the beginning. You built me up, but you just
I'm
tore
just
it
gonna
all
do the
away.
ending. I'm just going to do the one ending where the game ends early.
You only saved like 3 hours by doing that. All right. Now, I do want to be fair. I want to talk about some highlights and some low points. So it did win some awards. At E3, it won GameSpot's Best Adventure Game. It was also a finalist for Best Game overall. GameSpy named it Best Adventure Game and Best PS3 Game of the Year. Now, the people who criticize it tend to focus on one of a couple things: controls. Controls are probably the most controversial thing. It did rely on some like spatial motion controls. Remember how that was like the new hotness back like around 2009? They do build some of that into the game. Also, we all know what they loved in the late 2000s: QuickTime events. So this game does have QuickTime events and motion controls. Not everyone loves that. Also, there are some complaints about the voice acting. I don't know if Josh remembers, but there is some broken English, and you have American characters that have some very strong accents, which is a little bit goofy.
Josh won't stop smiling. I don't like
you're
this.
Gonna fail these QuickTime events. You're gonna be like, QuickTime events are so easy, and then you're gonna fail them, and I'm gonna laugh at you, Ryan.
Whatever.
And that's
I'm a
good.
quick
It
time
is a
wizard.
good
It is good.
You got to fail some QuickTime events in this game. It makes for a better experience. All right. This is now like major spoiler territory. Not spoiler, but like major hints. Now, Ryan may not know it if he doesn't know the tagline. The tagline of this game is repeated in the game, and it was on all the promo material. Let me ask you, Ryan, how far are you prepared to go to save someone you love?
Oh my gosh, that sounds so familiar.
Oh, it's familiar.
Does it? Okay.
It's
all right.
familiar.
Oh my gosh.
We're gonna
What-
find
Ryan-
out though, Ryan. We're gonna find out how far you're willing to go.
Yeah. Now, Ryan, let me tell you something here. This is not a game you're going to be able to play in front of the kids. All right. Josh can attest to that. Other than Cyberpunk, this might be the most like mature game that I can think of. As a warning to people who are listening around small kids, I'm going to like throw out some general reasons for why it's rated M, but I'm not going to, go into any detail. It covers things like drug and alcohol abuse, parental physical abuse. Also, I'm going to give you a spoiler. A child dies in the first 2 minutes of this game. And it involves kidnapping of children. It also has sexual content and nudity. So this is definitely one just for the adults out there.
Oh, Paul,
some of the endings.
You forgot dismemberment.
Dismemberment. Yeah.
Oh, now we're
definitely. That might be why we have some Saw comparisons.
Yeah.
And also, some of the endings can even possibly involve suicide. All right. So this
Oh my
is not a
gosh.
game for the faint of heart. This is a very capital M mature game. They are not afraid to, quote, go there. All right. Let's just say that.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Is it fair to say, Josh, this is one of those games that will take you places that you don't necessarily expect?
Dude, you will. This is a game that once you play it, you will never forget that you played this game. Hands
Yes.
down. That's why the second I realized what it was, I got super excited because I was like, oh my goodness, dude. Like, you will remember this game forever.
I'm trying to even think what I was playing around 2010, but like,
I want to
Go ahead,
like,
Josh.
I want to watch Ryan play it.
I know,
That's
right?
the
That's
thing.
what I was
We
gonna
might
say.
have to figure this out.
We-
We might have to figure out how to do this.
When Josh and I played it, we played it with our buddy Andrew McKinney, and we played all of it at my house. I did not touch the controller, neither did Andrew. I think you were the only one who played, right, Josh?
Yeah.
We were just so excited to watch Josh play. And my hope is that we can get together, and I just want to watch Ryan play this game.
I'll make
the
it
choices
happen.
he makes.
Yeah.
I want Ryan to fail certain quick times and start yelling and not being able to believe what's happening on the screen. I think it'll be so much fun. I hope it works out. It's not a terribly long game, but it is about 10 hours. So
not
maybe we can do like 3 play sessions or something and try to knock it out.
yeah, for sure.
Last thing I'll say here before I reveal the game. A character from this game was drafted in our very first bonus round draft that we ever did, Josh. We did Gaming Best Dad, and Josh did not agree with me drafting this character from this game. But you know what? My selection beat Josh's draft pick of a Big Daddy from BioShock. So this character did make it to the second round. And Ryan, I know you have not heard this clip. You won't hear it until later. But I did take out a snippet of Josh and I arguing over whether or not that character is a good or bad dad. And we're going to go ahead and play it right here.
Last match of round 1. Ethan from Heavy Rain versus Big Daddy from BioShock.
All right. Can I just disparage Paul's pick right away?
Oh, yep, go for it.
Okay.
Is it going to
love
start with
to.
the fact that his first son dies in the opening scene of
yes.
Heavy Rain?
Okay, so it's number 1, his first son dies in the opening sequence. Number 2, his
The
second
first 2
son
minutes.
his second son gets kidnapped because he's not paying attention to his son at the park. So, what
No,
kind of-
he blacks out.
Well, okay, yeah, that's better. He blacks out while his son is at the
Why
park.
does he black out,
Like,
Paul?
Because of the trauma of his first son's death. He's been suffering from blackouts. But go ahead, Josh. Go ahead. Keep
Yeah,
disparaging
or some
Father
might
of the
say
Year.
drug abuse or alcoholism or something like that. The story is replete with poor choices by Ethan from Heavy Rain. I would not. Funny story. That guy is actually on multiple lists of top 10 worst dads in video games.
He is on lists of top dads. I've seen that too. Okay. Do I get to defend Ethan now? Okay. Number one.
Go for it.
Okay. Why is Ethan doing this? Because his son has been kidnapped.
All right. So, Ryan, you can tell us after you hear that clip and play the game. I want to know, is this character a good dad or a bad dad? Because there's no in between. He's either a top 5 or a bottom 5 dad, and there's nothing else you can say. All right. It's reveal time. Josh, do you want to say it? Or do you want me to say it?
You
want me to say it?
Yeah, this is your pick, buddy. So you get to reveal it.
I have no idea either. I'm completely. I'm gonna be super surprised. So lay it on me.
There's a chance hopping in this one ends up cracking my top 10 of all time because it's been a few years since we played it. We are playing Heavy Rain.
Do you know what that is, Ryan?
I don't even know what Heavy Rain is.
I didn't know if Ryan knew what Heavy
Don't
Rain
look up
was,
a thing.
Do
not read a single word.
You got to
online.
go completely blind, dude. Completely blind. This is how I went into this game. So to give some context, I remember Paul telling me, Josh, you have to play this game. Why don't you come over? You can spend an afternoon playing it. I'd love to watch you play it. I came over. I went in absolutely blind to this game. And I just kind of like commentated during, and it was, I understand why this is entertaining to watch somebody else play this, because you are going to make so many choices in this game and have zero clue what any of them mean, but you will find out. And this game will make you squirm, dude. It is going to put you in some really hard choices. It's going to make you do some really hard things. And you're going to sit there and be like, there's no way. There's no, there's a way. What the heck am I supposed to do now? Like, is this for real? I can't wait for you to play this, dude. Like, it's such a good pick.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
No reloading old saves.
I don't know what it is, but for some reason, people do like to watch me play games. Because I remember when we played Resident Evil 4. That was always, and then my buddy, he had me come play one of the Resident Evils. I think it was 7 or whatever on VR, and they were just recording me because I couldn't see anything. So, yeah, we'll definitely get together. I'm off tomorrow, by the way, Paul. Maybe we can link up and play some. But
we can start tomorrow, maybe.
I'm concerned but excited because I have no clue what this is.
It's going to be an absolute blast. So, yeah, I'm hoping that we'll be able to play all of it together. And then this is kind of like a throwback to like our teenage years, Ryan, when we would play these one-player games and just pass the controller and watch each other. I remember Manhunt being so much fun to watch you play also.
Freaking
any of these games that are like intense and kind of wild. All right, so we're going to be playing Heavy Rain. Josh has said it's incredibly memorable. I absolutely love this game. I think we can get together and play it on PS5. And then we're going to be taking 2 weeks to play the game. We're going to come back. We'll do a full deep dive. Josh, I hope you're able to sit down with us also, but I know you've at least played. So, okay.
Oh, I want to see this.
Either way.
Even if it's just fun. One day that we can do it, like, I want to see this.
Yeah. It'll be like a nice refresher, too, because it's been almost 5 years since we played it together. So, listeners, make sure you come back. This is one of those ones, like for me, it's kind of like RimWorld, where it really goes off the rails, and it's like, is this a real game? Like, am I in a fever dream? Like, I don't, what is going on? And it's a little bit like that. All right, I think that wraps everything up here for this pre-dive. Please consider supporting the show on Patreon. We talked about it a little bit earlier. You get bonus episodes, all kinds of perks. Multiplayersquad.com is where you can do it. You can also help us out by rating us 5 stars on Apple and Spotify. Make sure to join the free Discord and hit us up on socials at Video Gamers Pod. Thank you so much for listening and subscribing to our feed. And until next time, happy gaming.
See ya.
Oh, Ryan.
Oh, no.
Watch out for the forecast.
See everybody.